Travel Tidbits podcast, hosted by the agents of Pineapple Escapes. Join us as we discuss the latest in travel news, destinations, and tips for the savvy traveler. After all, travel makes life sweeter.
Hi everyone, I'm Taylor Deck, travel agent of Pineapple Escapes, and you're listening to the Travel Tidbits podcast. Thanks for joining me today for one of our Tidbits episodes, where I'll be going over the best road trip hacks so that your next road trip goes off without a hitch. Road trips are best when you go with multiple people. Not only does it help split up the driving, but you have great company to pass the time and sometimes can help alleviate the monotonous landscape. These tips and tricks that I have below, or that I'm going to list out, have been what I found most useful when going on road trips. Typically, the road trips that I'll go on, they're usually not longer than maybe 2-3 days max. And I usually like to map out where I'm going. So that's actually my first hack, is to completely map out your route. Especially if you're taking a multi-day road trip, you want to make sure that you know where you're going to be stopping, hotel-wise. You also want to make sure that you know the best and safest places, do your rest stops, and for food breaks. What I'll typically do is a week before I'm leaving is pull up the maps version, see how long it takes without any breaks, and then kind of go into all the major cities I'll be passing through and note down the best places to stop, areas that seem like they are busy enough where you're not going to be in the middle of nowhere and not have anything to do. I also typically like to plan out where I'll be staying beforehand as well by booking my hotel nights, just because you never know if they're going to run out of room day of and then they won't have any space for you to stay. That's also a really great way for time management. If you book your hotel room in advance, you know that that's where you're going to be ending up that night. The best advice I can give you for this is to plug your destination into your GPS app right before you leave so that in case you do get into a dead zone where you do lose service, you won't lose your direction. Your GPS will keep going. So number 2 on my list is to create a road trip playlist that you can download and play offline. I'm a radio person, so I always love to listen to the radio, but when going on long road trips, I'm usually going in and out of different city and state lines. That also typically involves going into dead zones where I have zero service. This can cause radio stations to change or become staticky, and your streaming can all of a sudden stop if you are not offline. So if you have an offline playlist, Spotify is a great option for this. You can continue to listen to your music, podcasts, whatever you're listening to without any interruption. So yeah, number 3, this one's super important. Make sure that you're staying hydrated and eating. So pack a cooler with lots of snacks and drinks that you can easily eat on the road. The things that I found most helpful are going to be sodas, energy drinks. Of course, water bottles are a must. You also want to bring little snacks that you can eat without making a big mess. So I found a lot of chips, trail mix, granola bars. Sometimes we'll get like those party subs from the deli section at the grocery store. You can cut those up into little bite-sized bits. On top of that, you'll also want some way to dispose of any of your drinks and snacks. What I've done is you buy one of those the plastic cereal dispenser containers, reusable ones from the store, put a grocery bag liner in there, snap the top on, and then open up that little section where you typically pour the cereal out. That works great for a DIY road trip waste basket or trash can that you won't have to worry if it tips over, nothing will fall out. On top of that, you'll also want to make sure that you are stopping whenever you stop for rest stops or food breaks to just go through all your food, maybe update ice if you need to update your cooler and put fresh ice in there, dump out any water that's in there so that it's not sloshing around in the back. Number 4 is going to be to fill up your gas tank around the half tank mark. especially if you're going on long road trips where you're going to hit a lot of dead zones or service zones where there's no service for a while. This is where that first hack comes into play, mapping out your route. You'll want to find the best places to stop for gas. This is typically also going to be where you're going to stop for your rest stops and possibly also for food. It's really important that you fill up on gas as close to the half tank mark as possible, just because you never know when your next gas stop is going to be. There's actually a gas tracking app where you can find the cheapest gas for your route. It's called Gas Buddy, and it lets you find gas nearby and lets you know the rates. So download that before you head out on your trip so you can kind of find the best stops. And then finally, number 5 is to make sure that you're comfortable on the road trip. I can't stress this enough. You shouldn't be driving for more than 2 hours at a time. Make sure that you're going with people who you guys can switch off. You feel comfortable enough taking your breaks. And that way you're not driving 4, 5, 6, 8 hours at a time. 2 hours is really the max before you're going to need to pull over and at least stretch your legs, have somebody else drive, eat something, drink something, or even take a nap. On top of this hack, it's also really important that if you are taking a nap, pack blankets and pillows in the back so that you are comfortable when you're taking a nap. I usually like to bring lots of pillows. I'll bring like a sweater. I dress in layers because sometimes I get cold, sometimes I get hot, but it's great to have a little safe haven in the back of your car so that you can focus on relaxing and rejuvenating before it's your turn to drive again. But anyway, guys, thanks for listening to my road trip hacks. I love road trips, especially if you're with the right group of people and you're well prepared. They can be a lot of fun and you can actually get to see a lot of really cool things on the road. So make sure you have a phone charger, an extra car care kit in the back seat in case of anything, and an emergency list for AAA or any of your insurance companies on hand. But thanks so much for listening to our travel tidbit this week. We would love to help you plan your next road trip. If you have any questions or are ready to start planning, feel free to email us at info@pineappleescapes.com and we can help you get started. Thanks again.
We hope you've enjoyed today's episode of the Travel Tidbits podcast hosted by Pineapple Escapes. Travel makes life sweeter. Let the experts help you plan a vacation with lasting memories. We'd love to help you plan your next vacation and have you join our community. You can find us on the web at www.pineappleescapes.com and on Facebook and Instagram at Pineapple Escapes.